Hello and welcome to another edition of the Fort Dorchester High School Coaches Show. I'm the voice of the Patriots, Richard Todd, here with the new head coach for the Patriots, Coach Sean Lorenzano. And Coach, this is going to be for a lot of people the first chance they have to see you, meet you. Welcome to the Low Country. Just first starting off before we do anything, tell everybody just sort of who you are, where you come from, how it worked out that you became the coach of the Patriots, and just your thoughts heading into this first season as the Patriot head coach.
Well, first off, thanks for having us. Thanks for having my family, and everybody's been so awesome and welcoming, and we love the Low Country. It's been a cool experience so far coming out here, and I just want to thank everybody for all their hospitality. That Southern hospitality, it's different than Florida. I've been coaching in Florida for the past I would say 15 years. Been a head coach for 10. Did that. Played at Hastings College in Nebraska. Learned to love the game. We were back-to-back undefeated regular season conference champions. Went to the semis in the quarterfinals in the national championship. Lost to Azusa Pacific in the NAIA.
So, and now all of a sudden here you are in the Low Country and Fort Dorchester in a STEAM program going back decades. What were your thoughts after a summer training session season with your team heading up to the game, the opener? Just what were your thoughts about your team as you get to know them, they get to know you, You get to know the Low Country and get ready for that first game against Beaufort?
Richard, I'll tell you, thank God I got to get here early in January. I think it was huge to be able to build the relationships with the guys that I did. I've gotten how many months is that? 6 or 7 months right now with them, and it was great to have a whole off season with them. And we really got to work on a lot of fundamentals starting in January. To me, you build everything in the weight room. You build everything in the weight room. Attitude. You build your identity. You build everything in the weight room. And so I was able to do that, and that was my specialty in Florida too. I love the weight room. I love getting after it with the guys and creating that identity. So we were able to do that. Now Fort has an identity already, and they are some physical jokers. And that was one of the things I fell in love with when I was doing research on the place and watching film. The one thing that pops on any TV screen is how physical these young men are.
Yes.
And so any coach would be drooling at a chance to come coach a bunch of kids that love to fly around like that.
Yeah, and you got a great tradition here at Fort Dorchester, and we do have a lot of what we call slobber knockers. I mean, they'll just really put a hurting on the other team, and they'll feel it after that. And so you go into this opener at home against Beaufort. First game as the head coach, and by the way, when you hear me say Coach Lowe, that's what you tell all the kids to tell you.
It's shorter. Sometimes people call me Lorenzano or Lorenzo. I said, no, just call me Coach Lowe. It's been easy. I was a DJ in college, and that was my DJ name too. So it just stuck. So
Coach Lorenzano might be referred to as Coach Lowe. But here we go into the game against the Beaufort Eagles, a team that 2 years ago was playing for a state championship. They've got a good program going on. You had to love the way that it started, because first drive, you end up getting a 25-yard touchdown pass from Kevin Johnson to Anthony Williams to go up 7-0. That's a great way to start.
It was awesome, and it set the tone for the whole night. To me, we came out, we hit him in the mouth. We had a good game plan. Our offensive coordinator, Coach Cantrell, came out and we did what we said we were going to do. Thank God the defense came up with the punt block team. They snapped it over the punter's head and they bobbled it, and we got that ball right.
Well, it's one of those things to talk about. That special teams is a third of what's happening. Offense, defense, and special teams. The special teams played a big role throughout the game, setting up short fields and some missed snaps and penalties that really gave you guys some good field position.
Eric Mittag is our punter, and I think we talked in the spring, and he was a question mark about his consistency. But man, after that talk, this game right now, I think he punted for 256 total yards. His longest punt was 55 yards. And he just set us up all night. He did a great job. Great job.
Over the years, this kind of short field position, and winning the turnover battle so key for Patriots' success. And in fact, that punt snap that Beaufort messed up gave you a short field. There was a heavy dose of Ryan Campbell, number 0, running in the first quarter. It ended up with the 2-yard touchdown run, though, from number 2, Cameron Maxwell. And the Patriots are out to a 14-0 lead just like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It set the tone. Cam came in. And we've got a good stable of running backs. So, Ryan's the speed, Ryan's elusive, Ryan can create. Cam is going to run downhill, he's going to run you over. And you've got Kyrone Durant, who's a little combination of both speed and power. So the three of those guys can really get it done, and I love having them. I think Ryan's helmet popped off, and he had to come out of the game for a second, and Cam came in and kind of took his touchdown away from him.
Yeah, and one of the things I know that you'll be working on throughout the season is trying to minimize any mistakes. With that 14-0 lead, Beaufort got a new set of downs on an offside penalty against the Patriots,
right,
which happened a couple of times to give them some extra plays, and it would be a 5-yard touchdown run that after that first and goal was set up from an offside penalty from quarterback Samari Bonds of Beaufort, who he's a dual threat quarterback, no doubt about it, really good. So at 14-7 at the end of the first quarter, that also had 3 personal foul penalties against the Patriots as well, and then a couple of defensive mistakes, but still 14-7 after your first quarter as the head coach of Patriot football. How did you feel there going into the second?
Nervous. I'm not gonna lie. 14-7 is not good. Is not a cushion lead. It's so. But yeah, we just got out of practice today, and we just ran a ton for those penalties, and we've just got to learn. Like I said, we're returning 3 offensive starters, and the majority of the penalties were on the offense. And we're young, we're not as mature as we need to be, and we're going to learn game by game. And I think we're going to make good strides from week 1 to week 2. But we've got to learn those lessons, and we've got to learn them each week, and we've got to get better at controlling our emotions and controlling what we're doing. I got to go back and look on the film and see how many of those penalties were just bonehead penalties that we can really fix, or were they aggression penalties? Were they there was one there we hit somebody out of bounds. That was, what am I going to do? Those guys were playing
between
hard.
Overly aggressive versus making a mental error.
Correct.
Where you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing.
Right, and I want to keep the edge on our guys. I want to keep them hitting hard, and I'm not going to tone that down. I'm never going to apologize for that. But those guys, we've got to make sure that we're within the guidelines and making sure we're playing aggressive within the guidelines.
Yeah, the stats for the game, Fort Dorchester had 7 personal fouls and 1 unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. And those did come back to hurt you in various parts of the game when it comes to drives and keeping Beaufort on the field. The second quarter was really about the defense. No points scored from either team, with Fort Dorchester leading 14-7 over Beaufort, but you had short fields and a pick. Number 5, Jordan Wright, with the first of 2 interceptions that he would have in the game. That was great defense in the second quarter, and Jordan Wright really was the man of the moment with those 2 picks.
Yeah, he was our offensive player of the week, defensive player of the week this week. He did a great job. 5 tackles. I think he had a tackle for loss on one of those plays too, on some type of screen play. And then, man, he did it all. And the 2 picks, timely picks too. We needed those bad boys right there. So those two interceptions, and the fact that offense, and I'll brag on this, we didn't turn the ball over, and I'll knock on wood, because when you don't do that, you can win the ball game.
Yeah, when you win the turnover battle and you put yourself in great field position, you're going to be in a great position to win the game.
That's right.
14-7 was the score at halftime. You did have one play there in the second quarter that looked like a sure touchdown and a drop pass from Kevin Johnson. I think it was to Anthony Williams, and a heavy helping of number 0, Ryan Campbell, in the running game. But 14-7 at halftime, you got your first half under your belt. Yeah. What are you telling the team at halftime coming out for the second half?
I just went in the locker room, and I'm a passionate dude, and and I gave him my heart, and I told him, hey, we've got to stop making these penalty mistakes. We could have been up on them a lot more. Yep. You know what I mean? And I don't think the score is indicative of where we really could be. And so I praised the defense for what they were doing, 14-7 at half. I love that stuff. I love the way they were rocking. I love the way they were hitting. They were coming out on fire. They were knocking heads around. And offensively, we came out first and struck first, but we didn't quite close that quarter out the way we needed to. So I let them know that, and then we just get to work and start fixing strategy and fixing everything we got to do.
Well, what you said must have worked, because starting out in the third quarter, Beaufort had the ball, and there was they called it a shuffle pass. It looked like a fumble. The coaching staff was a little animated because it did look like a fumble. But there comes Jordan Wright's second pick, as we just mentioned, and that gives you a short field. Again, great field position, winning the turnover battle. It'd be a 10-yard touchdown run from number 0, Ryan Campbell, and you're up 21-7, and got to feel good about them coming out for the second half and really showing some grit on defense and then on offense.
Right. That and 21-7 again. We'll talk about that score, because it's not comfortable when you have a dual threat quarterback like that. That can change, and you saw it did change. So it's a cushion, but it's not a breather. And so I knew in that third quarter that this game could possibly go to the fourth quarter, and it could be a tough game. So we want to make sure that if we're up 21-7, cushion, let's get some guys some blows, let's get some guys some rest for a couple series here, and let's get ready to in a dogfight for the fourth quarter. So that was kind of where we're at, and then I think they scored another one in the third, didn't they?
Actually, it was right at the beginning of the fourth quarter when they had a trick play, the wide receiver pass for 40 yards, then followed up by a 35-yard touchdown screen pass that Patriot tackling maybe had a little bit to be desired, but all of a sudden it's 21-14 in a one-possession game as we're into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was. That was that caught us off guard, I think, and they executed it well. And yes, again, we can't miss tackles, and we missed a lot of tackles in that game. I think we've got 5 returning starters on defense, so it's not. They're young too. You know what I mean? So a lot of these kids played JV last year. So they're figuring out. They're on that big stage. They're looking up at the stands and the lights. They understand the pressure that's on them. They understand the tradition that's been set and the legacy that's been set. And so now they've got to come, and now it's their time to perform, and it's their time to execute. And so it's a lot. It's a lot for a young kid like that, and we're going to make those mistakes right now,
especially in the first game. And you mentioned only 8 returning starters total from the 22 on offense, defense. There is that tradition and that pride in Patriot football, but all of a sudden it's 21-14. A costly unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and then a 35-yard touchdown pass after another personal foul. And all of a sudden, the game is tied up at 21 with 3.5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
At that, what's your message to the team on the sideline as they go out? Because I really thought those last 3.5 minutes, Fort Dorchester showed some grit to drive down the field with a little help from Beaufort, and to also to put that ball in the end zone to win the game.
I think you always take it back to practice. We practice these situations. We put ourselves mentally in these situations during the week. Now let's go execute, and let's be crisp, and let's work our 2-minute drills. Let's work down the field, and let's get it chunk by chunk by chunk. We wanted to just control the clock, and we wanted to kind of march it down there. And unlike the showdown and those scrimmages we had, it wasn't just the big plays that we were relying on. We had some sustained drives throughout that entire game. We haven't done that, and it's been big play or tackle for loss, big play or tackle for loss. Here we drove, and we got it all the way down. And the plan was, let's get it into field goal range, and if we need to go there and eat the clock and let's do it. We were able to punch it in. So
you get the ball back with 3.5 minutes to go, and like you're on 35, 40-yard line, and you said methodically go down the field. You had a touchdown called back on an ineligible man downfield, which was the second time that happened in the game. I know that hurts, and as we talk, you can tell the theme of some costly penalties, some mental mistakes, still playing tough. In the end, it'd be Russ, 6-yard touchdown run from Ryan Campbell with 20 seconds to go in the game to give you the final margin of a 28-21 victory. And just your thoughts to the team, and just after your first game as the Fort Dorchester coach, coming out with the W against a team that's going to be good this year.
Yeah, I told them I was very proud of them. I told the boys at the end that a win is hard to come by, and they better enjoy it. And the expectation of blowing teams out or anything like that, get that out of your head, because we're going to be in dogfights, and you learn more in dogfights about yourself than you do in blowouts. I'll tell you that right now. And I think we learned a lot about ourselves and how far we can push ourselves and what we're made of in the fourth quarter. We're winners. We're gonna play to win. We're gonna fight to win. And you're not gonna intimidate us. And we're gonna keep driving the balls like we show we can do and play good defense. So I think the boys learned a lot about themselves. I'm very proud of them for the way they played in those last 3 minutes for sure. And throughout the game, we've got to correct a lot of things, and like I said, it's being young, being a little bit immature on the field.
Well, a lot to work on, but great to get that W and the opening night of the season and the opening night of the Sean Lorenzano era at Fort Dorchester High School. So congratulations on that W. Now you're at the Goose Creek Gators Friday night, 7:30 on the road. We invite all Patriots to come out, support Fort Dorchester on the road. You can visit our website so that you can make sure to follow Fort Dorchester news throughout the season. And Coach Lowe, welcome to the Patriot program, and we can't wait to see how the season goes. Congratulations on that first W.
Thank you. Looking forward to the rest of the year. Appreciate it.
We are looking forward to talking to you throughout the season, so make sure to keep it here for more editions of the Fort Dorchester High School Coaches Show.